All right, buddy. I'm Johnny Scoville, and this is the Capsaicin Connection. It's really good to see everybody. Thank you for being here. Very, very quick roll call. Let's see if it'll let me do it. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it does not. It's going to. All right, good. Let's see what we got here. Thank you for being here, guys. I appreciate it. We're gonna have some fun talk. I got a story to tell you. Analog Adventures. Good to see you, Dylan. Brock Bandy, Jeremy Fowler, and Krista Melinda, my wrenches. Chili Phil, Blaming Koala Hot Sauce Down Under. Jane Aldrich, Jeff Coy, good to see you, Jeff. Saudium, greetings. Toby Reveille, good to see you. And Winchester Super X Barella, good to see you. Caddyshack, hello there. Captain Capsaicin. All right, please do me a favor, get everybody to like this chat. Hi, Lisa Trimble. Hello, Noah. Bard, what do you say? Hello, Arla. All right, so we're going to let this build for just a moment because I got a story to tell you. It's a real one. I'm glad everybody's here. Hit the like button and see if we can get as many people in here. Let's pull a fast one on the old YouTube algorithm. It's snoozing. It's snoozing. We're going to catch them off guard. Throw a like in there. Hi, Tim D. She's doing great. You know what? Tim D said, how is her training going? I'll give you a quick update. She has a problem. Early on, she had a significant problem in the cat box, in that she would tap dance all over her dookie. Caddyshack, good to see you. Hi, Brian. Hi, Amy. Jason P, good to see you. Bizzle, there's my dude. Anyway, she'd walk around, she'd bury it, and then walk around there for a while. And in doing so, because of her feet, which are coated with fur, like long fur between her toes. It would absorb it, and then she ended up putting little poo prints. So she has now had 4 very successful visits to the cat box. Hi, Tamber June. Good to see you. So super happy about that. Sort of a drag last night. She absolutely just decided last night, like, I am just not going to sleep, and you're not either. She did. So that's leading into my story. So let's wait just another moment. George Hamlin, good to see you. That's interesting. Hello, one of my local cinemas is running a David Lynch retrospective this week, starting last week. Interesting. Jeff says that Coon have their own special problems. They do. They're wicked different than normal. They're, honest to God, they really are different than normal cats. Yankee Kyle, good to see you. Marcy, hello there. Spicy Jen. Old Charlie. Man, it's so good to see you all. Right now, thank you for that. I appreciate that, Mike. Diane, hello there. All right, so before we get this thing started, I want everybody to put in how you feel emotionally. We're going to ask you again at the end of this stream. Put 1 to 10 where you are emotionally. If you're doing good, it can be a positive 1 through 10. If you're doing poorly, you're having a bad day, it can be a negative 1 through negative 10. But I want everybody that has the ability to touch their keyboard on your phone or your computer, just do me a favor and type in your number. Now, I'm not going to be able to remember everybody's number, and like Lisa's the first one up there with a 5. She's not going to remember everybody's number, and I'm not going to. But at the very end of this stream, I'm going to ask you where you're at. I'm not looking for Lisa to put in a 7. What I want to say is I've moved positive 2 points positive, or I moved back 3, or I moved positive 5, or whatever. And we're proving a point. It's got nothing to do with me. It's connection, people. So let me tell you a story, okay? I've been kind of going through it. Just my back is really bad right now. It's bad. It's as bad as last time it was just bad. I was getting cut by a surgeon. So I'm really suffering right now with back problems. I'm lucky that I can sit. Laying is very bad, which makes sleep really hard. Plus the cat makes sleep really hard. She's not in the basket. She's been good about that, but she's causing somebody else trouble right now. So I've been having back problems, and it's just, it's ongoing, okay? I'm a sober person, and I deal with the same things. And the reason I'm talking about this is I want everybody to know something. I'm 5 years, closing on 6 years of sobriety. there's a misconception that a lot of people that are flirting with the idea of getting sober or just starting, right? That once you get sober, like you'll have this aha moment and everything just gets good. Because it doesn't. That said, I'd rather go through life sober. There's no reason, there's nothing that can make me want to use again or make me use again. We're going to talk about that. All right. So anyway, that's kind of my state where I'm at. Last night, Katie, what we've been doing is I kind of wind down, okay? And Katie does too. I've been keeping her in my room. I've been shutting the door in my room, so she only harasses me. But for like the last 3 or 4 nights, after she starts to fall asleep, I open the door. So when she wakes up in the middle of the night, she can take off, do her thing. She comes back, and it was really good. 3 nights in a row. It was just like the cat got the program. It was amazing. And last night, she just threw the program away. She's like, I'm not sleeping tonight, and that's it. She was laying on the floor, trying to put under my door, trying to. She's just crazy all night. To make matters worse, my back was killing me. It was just bad. Now, let me back up a little bit. Yesterday in the afternoon, Tommy went shopping. He came back with a ton of stuff. Hi, Sam. Good to see you. Or Pepperplegia. Good to see you, Ethan. Hi, Robin. So Tommy went shopping, and I should have told you this earlier. I apologize. Tommy went shopping. When he came home, he had a bunch of stuff. And he pulled out a Heineken. He goes, I got one for you, Johnny. It's a no-alcohol Heineken. I said, really? Because I couldn't say no. They were giving it away. I said, what do you mean? He goes, they were giving it away. I walked out. The guy goes, you want one of these? And he gave it away. Couldn't say no. I Nana too. Good to see you. So I brought you home a beer, Tommy said. So I'm like, and I don't even drink non-alcoholic beer, but it was in the fridge. He got a 6-pack of Corona. And I don't have a problem with alcohol being around. I really don't. Anyway, so that's to preface this whole story. So anyway, I go to bed, and right as I'm starting to fall asleep, around 11:30, the cat falls asleep. At like 12:30, she's just like, I'm done. And then at 1:15, I get a phone call with somebody who I am very invested in their sobriety. I am in their 5. I dare say I'm probably the first person they call, or they're supposed to call. And I've been under the impression this person is sober and this person is not. They were drunk last night. So I'm just telling you the true story, people. So last night I had all that running through my head. Couldn't get this guy to talk to me on the phone. So I was worried about what the outcome was going to be like for this person. My back is killing me. Sleep's not going to happen. They got the cat is growing horns and a tail. And so it was a little after 3 in the morning. I got up and I went to the fridge. I was going to get a non-alcoholic beer. There's only one. It's a Heineken. So I reach into the fridge to get it, and I grab it. I pick it. I grabbed it. I pick it up, and guess what I was holding? I was holding a Corona, and it wasn't like a cross to a vampire. You know what I mean? I picked it up, looked at it, reached behind it, got the non-alcoholic one, put the Corona back, and came back to myself. But I'm just being straight with you. For that long, I thought. And then I thought, I'm this guy's the number 1, and this guy's 5. They're going to call me tomorrow. I'm going to talk to that person today. How can I talk to them if I did the same thing that they did? So for a split second, I thought about it. I'm like, no one will know. Tommy didn't know, and I'd end up coming clean because I'm like that. I never cheat on my wife. You know why? Because I would. I'd feel guilty and tell her. So I didn't drink it that was one of the other reasons. At any rate, I come back, I sit down, I drink. I think I put it to my lips once. Took one mouthful of it, I put it down. I didn't drink the rest of it. In the morning, I didn't go to bed last night. Well, I did early on. After I got up, I was up. And so this morning I brought it out. Tommy's like, hey, what'd you think of that beer? Well, it was terrible. So the reason I bring the whole thing up is that it's not going to be easy, right? Last night, somebody that on their number one person in their 5, they're supposed to be calling me. Not only did not call me yesterday, but they've been drinking. Lisa Trimble, thank you so much. Sobriety will continue, provide up and downs, big and small, but dealing with life better than dealing with. Yeah, I mean, I'd rather. It doesn't matter. Like if there was one day, if we knew like a comet was going to hit the Earth in 12 hours, I'm going to let it hit the Earth. I'm going to go out sober. So, but anyway, so that's what my night was like. You know what I mean? So, and another thing is this: we have to think about this. We have triggers, right? You know what some triggers are? You can type in your triggers. We'll all be the same. I'm telling you, in me, pain is a trigger. Lack of sleep is a trigger because when those I have, or I'm not sleeping well and I'm in pain, I find the ants are making more noise. So it isn't going to be an easy road. But I'll tell you what, I feel so much better today than had I drank yesterday. The person that stumbled. There's a good relapse and a bad relapse. I hope this is going to be a good one. Thank you, Brian. I'm just telling you to be honest with you. It wasn't like I had to, I was really rocking back and forth, and I was white knuckling it, and it was a close call. And so I know some people who can't be around people that drink. You know what I mean? I'm not like that. I can't be around somebody who has had this much too much. If I'm in a restaurant, somebody a couple tables over has too much. I know it. I don't need to know how they are sober to tell you they've had too much. And the minute they do, I got to be away from them. You know what I mean? But no, you are very strong to not have alcohol being in the presence of you, to not get you to just take a sip. Always just starts as just a sip. Yeah, it's I got a handle on it. Hi, Nurse Who Loved Me. Good to see you. B. Hendricks. Hello. None of it's easy, but like I said, I'd rather go through this sober. I can't help somebody if I'm stumbling like that. So it is what it is. But I'm human. We're all human. It's not like I've got 15 years sober of all the nasty ones, right? I've got almost 6 years sober from drinking, but it isn't any different. Somebody once said to me, it was interesting. I think it was my 7th day of sobriety. I was hanging out with somebody who was relatively famous in the Chile community. And they said to me something that was so profound, it stuck with me. Like you can't imagine. They said, I told them I've been sober for 7 days. They said, you know what? I've been sober for 33 years. I was like, wow. And they said, but you know what? With 33 years of sobriety under my belt, he was my 24 hours and your 24 hours are the same. And that was a pretty stellar thing to hear. Right. So whether I've got 15 years sobriety and almost 6 of alcohol and you have 6 hours, my 24 hours today is the same as yours. You know what I mean? Tom, good to see you. That's why we need all we have is today, says Robin. That's why we need to be like dogs. Dogs, they don't think a whole lot about tomorrow. They aren't really, they aren't really thinking about yesterday. They live in the now, and we got to do that. We don't. God Almighty, if you knew how many years, if you add up all the time throughout my life, where I was saying, I can't wait my life away. Sucks. I wish I had a shock collar. Every time I say I can't wait for, somebody should shock me. So I stopped saying that. Tell us a funny story. I don't know. If I had a really good sobriety funny story, I tell you, I'm trying to help people get sober. You know what I mean? I don't know. Let me think of a good funny story. Ask me a question that I can answer comically, and I'll knock it out of the park. Jeff said, I had a very close friend who was sober, but said this: I don't trust anyone who's not drunk because they really don't know how capable of evil they are. It's interesting. Here's the thing. I wouldn't trust somebody to talk to me about sobriety who hadn't been down that road. That's why it's very, very important. Which one, Ted? Ted's got a funny story. Um, if you have somebody in your five, all right, who's has never been, you try to have somebody in your five, and that's somebody you contact if you're white knuckling, you're thinking about using, and you call that person, you're going to hear toughen up, buttercup. You're going to hear, what do you mean you're going to use? Just don't. And you're going to hear, so they do not have the perspective to help you. They're going to hurt you. It's the truth. You want somebody who's been down that road, who understands that. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of truth in that. I think there is. But as far as being capable, the capacity for evil, I got news for you, man. I'm stone sober right now. If you don't think I'm capable of some wicked evil stuff, I am, sober or not. So I while I agree with what you said, I'm not sure sobriety has a whole lot to do. I mean, it certainly makes your decision making wonky, but I've watched enough interrogations of people that have done some horrific stuff, stone cold sober. But I do understand what you're saying. JD87, good to see you. Congratulations on sobriety. Life passes by fast. It does, I mean, Barbara, good to see you. Pam, good to see you. Here's the deal about life passing by. We I don't know. I said this yesterday. We spend too much of our time with our switch down. We need to, and going through on autopilot. Then you find us going, have you ever, like, it's Christmas already? How many of us have done that? It's Christmas? It can't be Thanksgiving already. That's because we're going through life. We aren't, and we're all guilty of it. You know what I mean? It happens to all of us. I had 3 years and relapsed. Listen, it happens. It absolutely happens. It's okay. But, I mean, Jeff, don't apologize for anything, bro. Don't apologize, man. You're my dude. Jeff lives here in Tucson. We haven't burned together yet. We were talking about that. I'm like, so we're going to make that happen. Going back to what Lisa said, though, there are good relapses and bad ones. Like my last relapse was a dandy. It was beautiful because I haven't used it again. You know what I mean? Let me ask everybody in the chat something. Let me ask you guys a question. This takes a little bit of audience participation. Let's say you're one of those people that's getting sober, or you're working a sober program. Right? Most people that are sober are not working a sober program, by the way. But let's say you're sober and you got a little sober counter on your phone, like I have on mine. Here, we'll use me as the example. We'll use perfect. I didn't drink last night. Let me show you. I've got 5 years, 10 months, 13 days of sobriety under my belt. Let's say that in my kitchen last night, I went and cracked that Corona and drank it. Do I start over with this and the next day? Should it say 6 hours when I wake up in the morning or whatever? Or how would you handle it? If you think I should start that over, if you're of the mindset that the minute you take a sip, you're back at square one, I want you to put a 1 in the chat. I'm not here to argue with anybody. I'm just looking for people's opinion. And I'm going to tell you mine. All right? Or do you think you should keep it in there? Keep that thing rolling. Because I'll tell you my opinion. It really is determined by start over, says Robin. Okay. I say there's 2 kinds of relapses. There's when, let's say I stumbled in the kitchen and drank a beer. I don't think, I shouldn't be me, because let's say my neighbor did it. I don't think my neighbor should start over at all. Not a bit. Now, if my neighbor didn't drink 1, he drank all 6 that were in the fridge, and the next day, when he went shopping, he bought a pint of vodka and hid it in the top drawer in his his dresser drawer, and started drinking it. I think he should start over. I absolutely think that person, then he should start over, because that wasn't a slip up. That was a conscious decision. I'm blowing it. I'm going to stay here for a little bit. You guys see the difference? Maybe I'm crazy. I'm not faulting anybody for saying if I did this. Can I tell you something? If you really want to split hairs, I eat tincture. I have it under the desk. Tincture is alcohol-based extraction of capsaicin. You take it super concentrated, it burns you slowly. You take 1 or 2 drops. I get emails. I should have pulled one up. I get emails that say, why are you saying you're sober? You're not. I saw you do tincture last week. That's not sober. To some people, I'm not. They don't put their head on my pillow, right? I stay in my lane. I don't tell, when you go to your grave, you are not going to be caught on the carpet for this guy's sins. I promise you that. You know what I mean? So it's up to you. I didn't drink, which is fantastic, but I don't know. I think there's some, I don't know. I don't think if somebody did something like that, even if it was a one night, forget one beer. Let's say that one night they slipped, something was stress was getting them. The next day they rallied and went, oh my God, they called their five, they journaled about it and it regrounded them. First of all, it's up to them, not up to me or anyone else, right? But sometimes I think it's a funny discussion because it's very divided. Fowler says, keep it going. You made the choice to put the wrong one down and one sip of a non-alcoholic honey. Listen, if I drank 6 non-alcoholic honeys a day, I'm still stone sober. There's no alcohol in that thing. I think there's 0.0005. You'd have to drink an ocean of it to get enough alcohol to get you drunk, and then you'd be dead from So, but see, here you go. If you're hiding it, you already know what the problem is. Exactly. Well, here, there's no alcoholic that does. There's no drug user, whether it's a bottle in your panty drawer or boxer drawer, whatever, or whether it's a straw somewhere or a pipe somewhere. We all, it's part of the gig. And the reason for that is you can't let the two worlds collide. Like when I was using, there was the lunatic Scoville. And then there was the guy that was going to show up and he was going to slay every person on the phone and was going to close deals and keep the office running. Couldn't let those two meet, the people that, and the funny thing is, the people on that I used drugs with, they knew I had the other side. They knew I put a tie on and faked it on Monday. The people at work didn't know that what I was doing on the weekends. So, yeah, I had to hide it. And that's why you lie a lot. That's one of the best things I was talking about. Was it yesterday? The best thing about being sober, one of the great things about being sober for me was I don't have to lie anymore, man. That's a pretty awesome thing. Noah says, to follow along with this, let's say someone is sober from drinking. How many determines their sobriety streak? How many determines their sobriety streak resets? It's up to them. It's up to them. I don't know. I'm just going to not drink. I didn't drink last. You know what I mean? It really is up to them. And we can certainly talk about what somebody should do, but again, it's what would you do? Because really, we can't make the decision for anybody else. We can talk about. So really, when we're talking about, we're throwing our 2 cents. We're throwing our 2 cents of what we would do personally, really. And no one's wrong here. That's the good thing. As long as somebody bounces back and stops drinking, no one's wrong. That's a good thing. Bizzle says, I think it should be a hard set rule so they realize how big the mistake was. There you go. If you just say, just one beer or one drink, then it's easier to have another drink and so. I get that logic, Bizzle. I totally do. I did have a beer at a gig a few weeks back. Didn't really want it, but most times I do a gig with dozens of people. One drink to ease my nerves helps. I deliberately keep it at one. Yeah, I get it. With that, agreed. I'll keep lurking. Too hot ball of a question. I'm out of here. It's Tommy Scoville, my brother. Reynolds Paranormal, good to see you. Wanna Love, good to see you. I'm glad you guys are all here. Yankee Kyle, he kicked vaping 3 years ago. Yankee Kyle, sober. 3 years from vaping. That's awesome, man. What's really funny? It brings up an interesting point. When somebody gets sober, and it's self-improvement. It's on a grand scale. It's the biggest problem in your life. I mean, you got listen, if you have an addiction, there's a whole lot of issues in your life beyond just addiction. That's the big one. It's causing most of the other ones are a symptom of But problem is a lot of it you can fake it and make it look good. We all do that. We can fake it. And that's the problem, man. It's always been a huge problem for me is I can fake it. But once you quit one thing, right? You know what you do? You start looking and going, well, what else can I fix? It's like damaging a car. You got a car with a really bad, fender. You fix it, and you're like, well, you know what? If I put wheels and tires on, look a whole lot better. It's like that. The second you got rid of the alcohol, man, if I started going to the gym, or if I quit smoking, or if I quit, and then you get some people that do hardcore things and they lose a whole bunch of habits all at once, which is a challenge. It's hard to do, Kristen says the danger is some people's logic will be that if they slip up once, they may as well just keep going with a relapse. If not considering all your sober time blown helps you get back up, that's good. See, that's a really, really good point. I promise you, the hell with it. I lost almost 6 years. What's the point? You got to do whatever. The key thing is this: don't drink. Use your 5. Journal. Do the right things. But if you do slip up, approach it in such a way it's not going to hurt you getting back on track and staying on track. And perhaps, I don't know, maybe I lost 5 years on I lost 5 years. Maybe that's enough to make you throw in the towel. Who knows? Hopefully none of us get stuck with that situation, but you can never let your guard down. I didn't think yesterday when I got up, I was going to have a day where I was holding a beer in my kitchen at 3:00 in the morning. You know what I mean? I didn't. And there I was, Oh, Vito, you got me hooked on Melinda's. Good. Then Hammer and the Ghost. It's a very good sauce. Tommy, Bizzle loves you. It's a good thing when Bizzle loves you. Well, it's no different. One sip for an alcoholic is no different than one snort for a person with, pick your drug. Each one's got it. You know what I mean? It's all the same thing. I know someone says with alcoholics, after the first drink, the drink drinks the next drink. It's just, I think it blows me away is that all the money and time I spent trying to feel what I feel like now, sober. I'm tired. I don't feel good. I haven't slept well. My back is killing me. But I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't trade it. Captain Capsaicin. Forget about it. Good to see you. Well, you know what? I was a workaholic to keep me from getting in trouble. I was a workaholic. It's why my kid's mom, it's probably why we're not married anymore. I was going to work one day and she said, go to your woman. She didn't say woman, but she said, go to your woman. I said, excuse me? A shirt and tie. I'm going to work. What are you talking about? And she said, it doesn't matter whether it's an office or whether it's a woman. If that's where your heart is, it's the other woman to me. Noah, there's a song. One is one too many. One more is never enough. It's got to be a country western song because Slipknot didn't do that. Just saying. Jane, every time Jane makes a contribution, read it, please. Used to be an old AA statement. It's not the first drink that's a problem. It's somewhere between the 7th and the 250th. You never know where you're about to cross that line. How about it? Narcoleptic Chihuahua Productions. So good to see you. Papa Carnivore. Hey, Johnny. Been a fan of you and your channel for several years. Just want to congratulate you and I love your beautiful new Maine Coon cat. Yeah, I'll tell you what. If you had called me at 3:00 this morning, I'd have shipped it to you. I'm kidding, but wow, I'm looking around for her, and she's not even in the office. The office door is shut. She's a great animal. She's beautiful, but man, oh man, she does some wicked funny things. It's remarkable how different they are. I'm not fooling at all. They really are different than normal cats. I mean, they're cats. They do things that are, but they're different, man. They are. Now I'm thinking Roger Rabbit. He doesn't want to drink. He does. I don't. You do, I don't. You do, I don't. You do, I don't. You don't listen when I say I do. That means I do. Holloman with the Roger Rabbit reference. That was a pretty crazy movie when it first came out, wasn't it? I think that was before I was even doing drugs, and that made me feel like I was doing drugs. Maybe not. I have to go back and look at the date on that thing. Yeah, I had a feeling it was a great. Man, you'd have floored me if you said, "No, man, that's anthrax, dude." I'd have fallen off my chair. I promise you. All right. So Lisa asks, I have food issues too. Sometimes when I binge, it feels like alcoholic behavior. Anyone else feel that way? Well, it's because you know what? Yeah, I understand why you would say that. I don't have an issue with food, but I had issues with other things, and I can totally see why you would say that. For real, I do. You're strong though. They are big cats. Yeah, they are. She's grown. She's almost 8 pounds now. She was like little just a couple days ago. It seems like for real. She's gonna be bigger than the. Do you remember like a week ago I was saying, 30 to 60 days she'll be bigger than Squirrel. She's gonna be bigger than Squirrel next week. I'm not even fooling you. It's absurd how fast she's growing. Are you looking to sit with my kitten? Is that what you offered? I must have missed it, but I'm all about it. If you live close, I hire you. Okay, here's one. Okay, I had problems with drugs. I drunk, but just at parties or with people. I could take it or leave it. So I have shine. If I drunk it, did I reset? You If that was behavior you were going to do on the regular, yeah, I would reset it. If that was if it was a slip up, if it's a purposeful decision, like I'm going to do this once in a while, then yeah, you should reset it. But if there's a difference between doing it with purpose, I'm going to go out today. I can start over. What's the big deal? No one's going to die. Well, reset the reset button. Now, yeah, you ought to reset it. I mean, if you're going out and you know you're going to do it, I think you should reset it. If you're out and like last night, man, I was sitting around like my back's killing me. The cat's not gonna let me sleep, and somebody that I have invested time in is drinking. You know what I mean? I don't know. I get it. It was if I had done it last night, that wasn't a conscious decision. I wasn't like, hey man, it was holy crap. All of a sudden, North America is sitting on my shoulders right now. And it wasn't when I got up this morning. So I think it's a big motivation is everything. Maybe I'm wrong. Just an opinion. Just popped in my head. Kids are often addicted to candy as we grow up. Oh, sure. Sugar's the great. Yeah, you betcha. You betcha. And then alcohol is from parties at home, and pills are from the cabinet. I mean, that's where kids do it. I know, actually, Jeff Coy. I have right there. I have a prototype of his new Razorberry. Kind of excited to try it. I YouTube binge. That's fine. No, I'm kidding. You know what? Nothing binging. If you do anything too much, like I joke on this channel, I say all the time, if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing. Like peppers is the only thing in my life I've found that to be an accurate statement. And I should qualify it, but I don't because it's the channel and just kind of how I am. But anything that we do to the point where it's a problem, like everything we do is on a scale. Everything we do is on the spectrum. Every emotion you got, there's a spectrum attached to it. And everybody's on there. You're on there so much where it's a problem, it's interrupting your life. It's when it's a syndrome. You know what I mean? But we're all on it. There's a million spectrums, I guess. Also, you've not said much about. Yeah, I'm trying to not talk about it. You know what I mean? Here's why. In the past, my back's been bad, and then it gets to a point where every day, how's your back? How's your back? I end up saying the same thing. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to do that to people. My wife, my kid's mom, when she was pregnant with my daughter, one day she woke up. I said, "Hey, how are you? How you doing this morning? I have a migraine." I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm sorry." It stayed for 6 months. I'm not farting around. 6 months that migraine stayed there. By about a month into it, I stopped saying, "Hey, how you doing this morning?" I'd say, "Boy, I hope you feel better today," because I knew what her answer was going to be. And I'm sure she got sick of saying it. I don't want people to get sick of talking to me because every time they talk to me, they're hearing about my back being bad. So I'm trying to keep my mouth shut. The reason I address it, someone emailed me. I'm not walking around the pool as much. They don't see me, very much in tune, that person was. But you know what I mean? So that's the only reason I brought it up. Also, the last time I hurt this much, honestly, I was going under the knife. So I may be heading in that direction again. Flaming Koala says, if I missed something, I apologize, but put it in again. Toxic in-laws and wife pushed me to become an alcoholic, but I have strong willpower to not go over yet. Don't. Regret. You know what I mean? Regret's ugly. Regret's a terrible thing. Are we pure discussing alcohol or different vices? Any vice. This is about, connection. Here's the thing. The principle of addiction is the same, whether you're pulling a handle on a slot machine, whether it's sugar, whether it's sex, whether it's shopping. I'm telling you the truth, whether it's a drug, whether you're smoking it, snorting it, inhaling it, sex, it doesn't matter what the addiction. We have a malfunctioning reward center in our brain. So the concepts of beating it are all the same. I've been on some wonderful streams of Tommy where there have been people in the chat, because he runs a sobriety channel much better than I do. But he had people in the chat that in one chat I remember looking at that were free from sex, gambling, and virtually every drug you can dream of, all in one chat. And everybody, the key is connection. It's the truth. Tad, is Tad on? I didn't see him. I'm working on something for Johnny. I love you, Tad and Kit. Hey, you know something? He made something for me. I got to figure out how I can play it for everybody. I don't think I don't think if I do this here, everybody's going to hear it. But he made a song for me, and man, oh man, it's amazing. I'm catching up. I'm sorry. I was way behind. Lego, good to see you, dude. You should never find yourself in regret. Bad times or learning experiences, not something you should ever self-hate over. You got that right. But my brain is not my friend. I have and I have automatic. We talk about them on this channel a lot. Automatic negative thoughts. You know what I mean? And when you get sober, I'm a sober person. If there's people in the chat that are sober that can relate to this, put a 1 in the chat. Now, when you get sober, your automatic negative thoughts start going to work on you. Number one, they want you to drink or drug or whatever else. They want you to do that. So they're going to get you to push all your buttons. And, it's horrible. And then they'll tell you about the money you've wasted, the time you've wasted, the relationships you've fractured, how life would have been if you hadn't done what you've done. And that's something that I deal with. And, I know that a lot of people that are getting sober deal with those things. Some ones in the chat. You know what? Let me ask you a question. This is really important. If there's somebody who's, is there anybody sober in the chat? Like that doesn't have that I don't mean sober that used to be an addict, but it's not. Is there anybody in the chat that's watching that has never been addicted to a substance? I'm just wondering, do sober people who have aunts, or is it just a addicted person thing? I think we probably all do, right? I don't know. I can only speak for me, and I'm broken. I'd be willing to bet you that everybody, ghostwriter, does that mean you are sober and you have aunts? I think maybe they're different. Your aunts, I think obviously the aunts of a sober person would be different than the aunts of a heck yeah, sober people have aunts. I talk to them every day. The aunts of the sober people. Kidding. So there, we all do. So it's a thing, it's one of those things, and but here's the thing with me, man. The only time the ants really beat the crap out of me is if I let them. And letting them is by sitting around being sedentary, not doing something, staring at the same 4 walls or 3 walls or whatever. Hanging out with people you used to hang out with, going to the places you used to go to. Ants. Howman says, it's funny. I'm considering going to Tasmania for a winter festival holiday. Usually when I go down there, they have unique craft beers that tend to get my attention. You know what? I was probably, I don't know how many years I was sober. I can probably figure it out. I can reverse engineer this thing and figure it out. I was sober. I went to Belgium Now, they're known for really good chocolate and really good waffles. But damn it, are they known for beer? And I went to Belgium sober. Never felt tempted at all. In fact, it was really interesting. One day, my son Johnny Jr. and I went to lunch with a couple of people. One of them was a little woman about this big who punched me in the face the night before. It's hilarious. It's a different story, but very funny. And they said, "Oh, I know you're sober, but I got you a non-alcoholic beer." It was a Belgium brewed non-alcoholic beer. So I thought to myself, it's got to be good, non-alcoholic or not. It's Belgium. Man, I only drank it because they were buying lunch. It was poison. It was terrible. Papa carnivore. I used to be 300 pounds, morbidly obese with a BMI of 40. Now I'm 199, same weight I was in high school. I'm 62. Good for you, bro. I'm gonna give you a trophy for that. Boom. You deserve that. That's, man, don't you feel good about that? I'm proud of you. It's a big deal. But once you start knocking out beating one thing like sober, whatever, you start looking at other things. What else can I fix? Stubby, I said at the very beginning, but I just want to reiterate. Thanks, Johnny. I've enjoyed your stuff for years, and I'm proud of you. And thanks for a good influence. Hey, you know what? Thank you for saying that, Stubby. I appreciate that. It's awfully cool thing for you to say. One funny story, funny NA story. It tastes like garbage. Here's a funny NA story, non-alcoholic beer story. I was married to my ex-wife, not my kid's mom. She's my children's mom. My ex-wife, the last one I was married to. It was 4th of July, and we were out. This was years ago. Everybody's drinking their heads off, and they said, "We need more beer." And they said, "We'll draw straws to see you how to go get it." What do you say, Jason? Good to see you. So we drew straws. You see, you got to go buy the beer, and I lost. So I was like, damn it. So I went and bought beer, and they wanted Pabst Blue Ribbon. All right, Pabst Blue Ribbon. So I bought Pabst Blue Ribbon. Got back to the Roger. Good to see you. Got back to where we were. Fireworks are about to go off. I got 2 cases of this Pabst Blue Ribbon. And I'm throwing beers. Everybody's sitting around. We're getting ready to watch the fireworks. About 30 minutes. We had about half hour, 45 minutes before the fireworks. So everybody's going through the beer like crazy. After about half hour, someone goes, I saw him do it. I saw him go, "What the hell is this?" I bought non-alcoholic beer. By the time we realized it, I wasn't going to have the time to go back and buy more because we missed it. It's pretty funny. It's funny now. It wasn't funny at the time. That was funny. Kristen, J&J's Pizza and Den always had Pabst Blue Ribbon. Never went there. The only place I can even remember going in Denton was the Sunset Grill. I don't remember going there because, like, the last time I was in there, I got into a fight. And I knew the owner. I felt horrible. She was so mad at me. She wasn't mad. You know, I would have been fine if she was mad at me. She was disappointed in me. Texas Sunshine, good to see you. Yeah, she said, in my bar. Oh, it's terrible. I felt horrible. I should have Tommy tell you that story. Tommy saw. Got into a fight with a guy in a bar, right? And then after the fight ended, I'm going to my car. I drove him home. I wasn't hammered, but I had a couple. But he's like, "Man, live right." You know, I didn't even know this guy, so I drive him home, and I ended up. That's a long story. I don't want to tell it now because it's a long story though. But at the time, Tommy and I were working for a company that was selling these little devices. It was a camera you stick on your TV, and you could see. It was the precursor to what we're doing now. Really blotchy and robotic, and it was terrible. And I got into a fight with this guy in my living room. My wife was away with my only son. We had 1 kid at the time. And I'm in my living room. I'm like, see? He didn't believe I had this thing. I was telling him about it. George Jetson. He didn't believe it. So as I was showing it to him, he's like, "Man, it's garbage. It doesn't work." So I'm fighting the guy in my living room. And Tommy seeing like every 6 seconds. He seen me punch the guy, get me a headlock, me getting kicked. Oh, it was horrible. I felt terrible. He was so mad at me when it was over. Oh, it was terrible. I mean, I did better than he did. I won, but it wasn't good. It was a stupid thing. Right foul or disappointment is worse than a loud argument. Yeah, it was like a total mom vibe. Total mom vibe. She was such a cool woman. She was a really cool person. I mean, she was always there. She knew everybody. She was just she was neat. I felt like a dirtbag for doing that. What do you say, Josh? 7 years sober. I haven't had a drink in that long. Good for you, Josh. It's a long time. I'm almost 6 years sober. I'm 5 years, 10 months, and what was it? Just looked at it a minute ago. 5 years, 10 months, and 13 days. You should see the staggering amount of money they claim I've saved. Look at the money they claim I've saved. 17 grand. Sheesh. It's crazy when you wrap your head around that, isn't it? That's why I say, I figured Tommy and I sat down once and crunched some numbers. I spent $1 million on drugs. It's a horrible thing. I don't miss it. I really don't. Ants are like your inner demons. Yeah, they are. And they know it's like, you know what? It's like an inner demon with an ex-wife attached to it. They know every single button. They got them. They know them. It's like, it's terrible. It's horrible. Bitters Who Love Me says, my bestie makes non-alcoholic drinks for me. Mead, eggnog at Christmas. She asked if I was okay with fake booze first, though, which I thought was very considerate of her to check that with me first. Yeah, that really is. You know, I often wonder that. They make this as a new company that sent me a thing. They wanted me to, apparently I'm famously sober. This company reached out and said, we know you're sober. We have something we'd like you to represent for your show. And I didn't do it. And here's why. It's a drink that is non-alcoholic. You guys let me know if anybody in the chat has seen this. It's a non-alcoholic drink, but the selling point is it tastes like real alcohol. The tequila, like holy crap, it makes people do this after they do a shot of it. It tastes like tequila. The rum tastes like rum. So I was like, at first I was sort of like, man, that's, but then I was like, wow, I don't want to market that. It's like vegetarians. If you don't, like, if you think eating meat is wrong, why are you eating a fake sausage? I don't get it. I don't know. That's just me. A great NA beverage is tincture in a sparkling water. Indeed. You know what? If you guys want to check out some great tincture, check out J Small Batch Hot Sauce. California, they have some great tincture for brand new entry level chili heads. Great for iced tea and things like that. They're low heat. Dad is cheating on me. He said my Lego. Sad face. My Lego. He wouldn't cheat on you, dude. He wouldn't do it so brazenly in front of you like this. You know what I mean? Jeff, congrats. Johnny, 4 years sober here. Congratulations, man. That's awesome. I dig that. I love when people that watch this show tell me they're sober. I think it's a cool thing. All right, you guys, for more support, thank you for that, Brock Baby. If you guys want more support, Tommy's great at this. You know, I'm kind of doing my best fake Tommy Scoville imitation. Tommy's much better at discussing sobriety than I am. Good motivator. I can motivate you. But Tommy has a lot more knowledge when it comes to it. Ever listen to relaxing music, Johnny? It could be any easy listening genre. I listen before bedtime, and it helps me get good sleep. I listen to rainstorms. I have a thing on my app, Triggy, a little rainstorm action going on. Leo says, I cheat on Tad. Tramp, you're no good. We knew you were like that. Bard, why are people mean to Bizzle? Did you tell me who's mean to you? I'll form a posse. We'll handle it. Marcy, you're kind. Thank you for saying that. And Robin, you too. You guys are biased, but thank you. I see Lego. See that? All right. So listen, we're going to wrap it up pretty soon. At the beginning, if you were here, the beginning of the stream, I asked everybody to put in their score of where you were emotionally. All I want you to do is tell me if you're feeling better, if you're feeling worse. You can say better, way better. Just give us an idea. The reason we do this, it has nothing, like, think about this. We it's not me standing before you that makes this happen. It's the connection. Half the time, do you understand that? I know you guys do. There are so many times there are people that come in here and there's conversations happening in the chat, completely separate from what I'm talking about. There are people that come here just for the connection in the chat. It doesn't matter why you're here. The connection is the connection, right? So see what we got here. Look at this. Look at this. It's proof positive, people. Ready? We got better, says Brock Bandy. It went up, says Jason P. Better, says Lego. Better, says Kristen, by 3 points or so. Definitely better for Brian. Better for Robin. Waiting for Bizzle. Feeling great for Tracy. Marcy's feeling better. Are you guys lying to me just because you like me? You aren't, right? There's something about connection. It really is important. I'm not making it up. Without it, we all, without connect, they figured out that babies without human connection die. I'm not even fooling you. Look it up. We need it in our lives. And it was such a sad thing because the pandemic happened and there's so many people that went home and just stayed there. There are so many people. I promise you, this is a small chat right now. There's not very many people watching right now, but I promise you, there's people in the chat right now where this will be the only connection they had today, and maybe this week. You know what I mean? It's true. There are people in the chat that don't leave their home. I have a friend. I have a really funny friend. I know it's really funny. I know this guy for a really long time, and every time he likes posting online, he's my friend. He does, and every time I see him post, he seems to be adding time to how long he claims he's known me. But he's hang on. A memory from 24 years ago at a high school party. One guy drunk. He asked me what name was because he couldn't remember. To be young again. Yep, to be young again. What was I saying? I'll give you a 7, says John. Look at that. I knew it, man. I knew it. I had you pegged from the beginning, Noah, right? Noah's pulling my leg. My electronic leg, my digital leg, my virtual leg, the virtual leg. Anyway, you guys are great. Tell someone you love them. Be kind. We'll be back here tomorrow. All right. Oh, Jason, man, I can't stop now. Just to show some support and some love. You're a good man, Jason. You have to email me, bro. We need to do the interview for Meet the Mods. You know what? In the mods, we have a bunch of mods for the channel. If there was like a mom and dad mod, we'd have KM be the mom of the mods, and Jason would kind of be the dad of the mods. Do you guys kind of agree with that? Do you see how that kind of makes sense? For real. He's kind of like the male version of Kristen Melinda, or Kristen Melinda is sort of like the female version of Jason P. No? Jeff says, I'm autistic, or at least on the spectrum. I don't get the same normal effect from social connections. It's just a me thing. I have a son that way. When you yawn, have you ever seen a situation where someone yawns and you watch somebody yawn and all of a sudden you start yawning? My son doesn't do that. Even dogs will do that. If you yawn in front of a dog, the dog will yawn back. My son is on the spectrum, and we realized when he was young, that doesn't happen to him. He doesn't. There's that connection is not there. It's interesting, but it's not a bad. I told my son when my son, we found out he was on the spectrum. He was old enough to be aware of what it was, and it freaked him out. So I came home and I sat down and it's weird. I went on the computer. I found it first. I didn't do it on the fly because I wanted to make sure it was there. But I found a website of famous people throughout history who were on the spectrum. And they know that. Obviously, they didn't have a test for that 200 years ago, but they know from letters and from history, they can make assumptions of what people like, all the Newton, Isaac Newton, some of the great Galileo, some of the great people were autistic. And I told my son, I went through, I said, look at all these guys. Everyone, Bill Gates, you name them. I mean, movies, sports, you name it, they're out there. And I told my son that it's nothing. It's not a negative thing. It's not something bad. Told my son he was like human 2.0. He got all excited. It was a good thing. Bard, you're so sweet. The 3 a.m. tax. Love, support, and prayers to anyone. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Bard. You're awesome. Also, I'm an introvert with few friends. My frequency of interaction was the same before the pandemic. Curse the world. Heck, it helped my bank balance. Yeah. Bard, seriously, thank you so much. You're awfully sweet. I appreciate you doing that. Oh man, you made me yawn just hearing about yawn. You know, look at Jeff says nothing wrong with autism, just a different approach we need. Yeah, my son was very literal. I didn't realize until he was older, but it made sense when I found out. We were in a store once, and is that Jeremy Bell? Yeah, it's Jeremy Bell. Good to see you, dude. Wow, Trimble. Jeez. Thank you so much, Lisa. You're a sweetheart. We connect. And the we includes you, Johnny. Thank you so much. You're awfully sweet, Lisa. I appreciate it. Thank you for the super chats, you guys. I really appreciate that. So this is before I found out my son was on the spectrum. We were in a grocery store, and he was little. He goes, Dad, I got to go to the bathroom. I said, dude, we're going to be out of the store in a minute. He goes, I really got to go. So I said, hold it. So he grabs his crotch, looks at me and goes, I still got to go. He thought grabbing it was going to make it stop. He thought that was the trigger. Like there's a trigger on a guy. You just grab it and you don't feel like you have to pee until you get outside. Then you let go and you can go to the bathroom. You know what I mean? It was just a wicked little kid. When we got older, looking back, and I'm like, I remember he'd do something and really get me mad. And they're not good at. There were times where I would say to him, I'm like, look, I'm not happy right now. I'm upset. You're pushing me to the point where I'm not happy. See this? This is the face of an angry dad. I would say that to him. And one day, I didn't know, right? One day when we were at the doctor says, he tells me my son's autistic. I said, you're wrong. He goes, I'm right. So he took, I'll show you what he did. He drew this: a smiling face, a sad face, and a face with no emotion. And he said, draw this for your son and ask him which one's the smiling face. He's got a 30% chance of getting it right. I said, you idiot? What are you talking about? I couldn't believe it. I went home. I said, come here, dude. I said, which one's the happy face? Hey. He goes this way, right? I felt that big. All I could think about is me saying, you see this face? This is an unhappy dad. I love you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow.